I'm starting to have some deja vu. Last year, Joey Logano was having a no-good, very bad season. He was absolutely terrible for most of the year, got a win in Nashville, locking himself into the playoffs, leading to him getting his third championship and leading me to question why a fair and just God will let such evil happen. We call this foreshadowing, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Cracker Barrel 400 at Nashville Motor Speedway, because nothing screams, go fast, turn left, be free, like mediocre Southern cooking. Last week, I said NASCAR fans were a bunch of assholes, and I want to prove that again. Because while everyone and their brother said this was a good race, was it? Am I the problem here, or was that race mind-numbingly boring? The field immediately fans out, and passing is harder to pull off than Ross Chastain not doing anything dumb for 5 milliseconds. Anyway, Chase Briscoe gets the pole, and we are underway in the Music City. On lap whatever, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is running into the corner with a charging Carson Hocevar coming up his inside. Because Ricky likes to fuck around, he comes down in front of Carson in the middle of the corner. At that point, Carson decided that Ricky could find out and punts him into the wall. This would eventually ruin Ricky's day. What upsets me most about the situation is Ricky did not reprise his role as the main character from the All-Star race last year where he punched Kyle Busch in the face, instead saying it was too expensive.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
For this crime against America, Carson was sentenced to rewatch the Monaco Grand Prix. R.I.P. Carson, and shout out to his rice fields. On lap 112 during a restart, Alex Bowman gets tight and runs up into Noah Gragson and ruins both their days. Alex Bowman in random crashes. A match made in hell. On the ensuing restart, Christopher Bell taps Erik Jones as they go into turn 1, and Erik Jones decides that mama didn't raise no bitch, and spins Bell into the wall.
Ooh, you're hard, showing off.
And look, there was contact before the turn and some rubbing in the corner, but you can clearly see Erik coming up off the bottom line of the track into Bell. Not great there, Erik. On lap 131, Corey Heim comes up the track in front of Brad Keselowski, but was as clear as I am in shape, so not at all. This ends his day. And look, Corey is the 2311 development driver and is still running full-time in trucks, but maybe jumping over the Xfinity Series into a partial cup schedule isn't the ideal development path. So Ryan Blaney reclaims the lead late, and because passing in this car works as well as new Coke, he would fuck off into the night and win his first race of the year. And the similarities to the last season jump out to me. In 2024, Joey Logano was having a dogshit season, but locked himself into the playoffs at Nashville and would go on to win his third championship. I fear we may be repeating history. And look, I don't hate Blaney like I do Joey Logano, but Jesus Christ, does Team Penske know how to use this championship format to the greatest advantage. Now let's go from Music City to Motor City, the Detroit Grand Prix and IndyCar. This is going to be quick. Remember when IndyCar went like 400 laps this season without a caution? Yeah, well, fuck that noise. Let's just have attritional warfare. Detroit was crazy. Rosenquist spins out, C gets punted by Scotty Mack, DeFrancesco loses a wheel, Callum Eilert loses a wheel and gets thrown into the wall, but in all, there were decent battles up and down the field. Not that that mattered because this was broadcasted on Fox, but I want to highlight 2 crashes that were exceptionally terrible. With 28 to go on a restart, Palou gets driven straight into the wall of turn 1. David Malukas, being the vigilante of the field, bonks Palou's rear end and puts him into the wall, ending his day. For the slaying of the figurative dragon, David Malukas was given a Roman triumph, otherwise known as a stop-and-go penalty. Then with 17 laps to go, Louis Foster's car detonated the front right suspension, meaning he did not have any brakes as he collected Felix Rosenquist and put both of them into the tire barrier hard. Luckily, both would climb out from the car, though Felix looked pretty shaken up. So with Palou being publicly executed by Malukas, Kyle Kirkwood would go on to win. A quick look at the standings, and Palou is still 90 points ahead of Award, and 102 ahead of Kirkwood. Moving on. From a shit show to an actual war crime. Not sure if there was much of a difference. The Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. And again, we're going to be real quick here. Lance Stroll qualified, but then remembered he was the worst person ever, so would sit out the race due to the soreness in his wrist, apparently from an injury he aggravated. Allegedly, he did so after throwing a bitch fit in the garage after qualifying. Allegedly. So the race starts, and the normal F1 shenanigans occurs. Oscar Piastri fucks off into the distance, mass vasectomy overtakes Lando Norris into turn 1, and the Ferraris of Hamilton and Leclerc fight each other more than the rest of the field. You know, the usual. But then, Kimi Antonelli has himself an engine failure, putting him into the gravel and bringing out the safety car. So the field bunches up, and Red Bull decides to put Max Verstappen on a set of hard tires for this final couple lap shootout. Apparently, Red Bull had their strategists retrained by Ferrari.
What the fuck are you doing?
So the safety car ends, and Max Verstappen gets loose coming to the line, allowing Charles Leclerc to get alongside, and they touch going down the straight. This allows George Russell to come up the inside, and they bounce off each other, pushing Max onto the escape road in turn 1. Because Red Bull is currently led by dipshits, they tell Max to let George through. Instead, Max heard crash into the side of George. Because of this act of aggression, the United Kingdom has invoked Article 5 of the NATO Charter, thus sparking a war on the continent. All this happened, and somehow, some way, Nico Hulkenberg drug that green shitbox into the points. I'm pretty sure that's the first sign of the apocalypse. Now let's move on to some awards. The You Had Perfection, Why Did You Fuck It Up award goes to William Byron's paint scheme. Last week, the 24 scheme was beautiful. This week, what the fuck is this? Another reminder of how consistent sponsors and schemes is desperately needed to build better branding of the drivers and teams. The Geneva Convention, more like Geneva Suggestions award, goes to Carson Hocevar for punting Ricky Stenhouse Jr. My favorite part of this was Steve Letarte on Prime clutching his pearls, saying this was over the line, while Prime was been hyping the Earnhardt documentary, because irony is dead. The Gavrila Princip Levels of World War Starting award goes to Max Verstappen for starting the latest world war in Europe by assassinating George Russell. This conflagration will consume the world until America three-peats as World War champs, and our only hope is Logan Sargent. I'm just kidding, we're all fucked. The Holy Fuck How Are You Alive award goes to Louis Foster for that suspension failure on the backstretch in Detroit. You, sir, need to go buy a lottery ticket. The Ross Chastain Merchant of Chaos award goes to Liam Lawson of Racing Bulls. Liam has had himself a year crashing into others. This week, he was clipping the wing off Alex Albon. Liam Lawson crashes F1 cars like the United States crashes the world economy. Next week is Michigan, and I have no predictions, because I have proven to be able to make predictions as well as the Magic 8 Ball makes officiating decisions. Also, a friendly reminder that Indiana is in fact God's favorite state. I could not give any fewer fucks about basketball if I tried, but when it comes to Indiana being better than everyone else, I'm fully on board. So good luck to the Pacers in the NBA Finals. I can't wait for you all to let me down too. So to review, Team Penske has taken the playoff format hostage. Carson Hocevar may be the second coming of Dale Sr. Max Verstappen killed Archduke Franz Ferdinand. IndyCar is a death trap, and I have completely lost the will to live. Thank you, and fuck Joey Logano.